Hello and welcome to Power Moves, the podcast where we talk with successful entrepreneurs, not just about what they've created, but more importantly, how they've created it. I have today with me Joe Guernaccini, founder of atCause Law Office. And Joe, I know over the last 5 years, yourself and your wife have really grown the firm from early beginnings with just the two of you working out of a home office into a seven-figure business with its own space. So I'm looking forward to talking to you today about your entrepreneurship journey, how you've grown as a leader, any sort of lessons of risk that you might have taken, and what it actually takes to scale from a two-person show to having a bunch of staff working with you. So thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I think we're going to need a little more time than the 45 minutes to get all into it, but that's all right. We'll do what we can. It's been quite a journey, and we're still only at the beginning.
Absolutely. Well, perfect. And this may not need to be the only time we ever talk. So would
There we
love
go.
to have you as a repeat guest. But maybe for those that are obviously new to learning about yourself, but also what you do, perhaps you could just give us a snippet of your journey and where you started from.
Sure. So my wife is an attorney. I am not. I have pretty extensive sales, marketing, and business executive experience. We moved to Florida in 2019 from California, and my wife had to get licensed in Florida, so she studied for the bar from November of 2019 to March of 2020. Took the test literally the day she took the test, the world was shutting down.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah. So we were in a brand new area, and in the legal industry, attorneys, unless you're in personal injury and criminal defense, there's not a whole lot of marketing that goes on. A lot of it's done by referral.
Mm.
So our intention was for her to network. She's gorgeous, very personable, great communicator. So we figured, okay, this is going to be easy. She's going to network and get all these referrals and all that stuff. And uh, the pandemic had other plans for that. So we certainly had to pivot pretty quickly. Um, Initially started out just her at the house. I was working a sales job, and then we just started posting organically in social media groups. We didn't have a lot of money at the time. We didn't really have much to market, to spend on marketing. So we were doing a lot of Facebook posting and in very specific groups,
Mm.
really kind of giving out helpful information, stuff like that. And in December of 2020, it made sense for me to leave the sales job I was at to come work with her
Mm.
full time. So her and I were out of the house, just the two of us. And fast forward to today, I think we're sent a job offer for our 25th or 26th employee.
Congratulations.
Yeah, we hit seven figures a couple years into it. And yeah, we've just seen steady growth.
That's amazing. So I've seen this whole story of like you have maybe if you're a couple and you're working together, perhaps one of them has the steady W-2 job and the other one is kind of going to the foray of like building something that could scale. And I think it's always great to share those stories of couples that went to business together successfully, because that's a win in of itself, but also like how they did it. You mentioned in just a few short months, really, if you look at it, you felt it made sense to transition out of your job. Did your wife feel the same way? And what were some of those telling signs that gave you that confidence that it made sense?
For sure. So most attorneys bill by the hour. And at that time, that's what she was doing. She was billing by
Mm.
the hour. And I'd look at her, she'd be billing like 12, 13 hours a week. And I'm just like, why are you not billing more? Like, what is going
Mm.
on? And she's like, I'm answering the phones and I'm doing this. And she had all these reasons for why she wasn't charging more and getting more revenue. So I looked at the
Mm.
numbers, and it was, I looked at, all right, maybe I can get I can probably get another 15 to 20 hours out of her a week. So doing the math, it just
Mm.
made sense, right, with what her where her billable hours were at. Um, Mathematically, it made sense, and she was relieved because she wasn't gonna have to answer the phones. She wasn't gonna have
Mhm.
to do a lot of the admin stuff. The marketing I was gonna take over, and yeah, it was a big relief for her. So she was all for it for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so many solopreneurs, entrepreneurs would love to delegate things off their plate. And that's one of the toughest things is finding someone of comparable magnitude that can actually take those things on permanently and that founder not need to worry about it anymore. So you were able to go in there and do that for her.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And we've hired people uh, that at first it was it was like risky. Like I remember we
Mm.
hired one employee who commanded a salary higher than what Ashley and I were being paid combined. Okay,
Okay.
and we looked at the future and what that person was going to do for us,
Hmm.
and we were like, screw it, let's do it. And it turned out to be one of the best business decisions we've ever made. Um, so I'd say sometimes it's scary to hire somebody, right?
Hmm.
And you can look at it as an expense, and that's what I've seen a lot of business owners do is they look at it as an expense, whereas it needs to be an investment, right?
Hmm.
Yes, if it's an expense to hire somebody, then you probably shouldn't do it. They need to be generating revenue for you in some way, whether that means that you're getting freed up so that you can bring in more revenue, or they're bringing in revenue themselves.
Hmm. Absolutely. So, what do you think were like the exact right decisions you made that helped bridge that change from being just the two of you, where obviously you can have each other's backs and hopefully have those real conversations. I mean, I know the both of you, so I know you don't skirt around things. You're very direct with one another. So I could see how that relationship in life and in business could work to hold each other accountable. But what was that like letting another person in, and what exact steps would you say contributed to making that a successful, expansive move?
As far as other hiring other employees
Yeah,
or just in
exactly.
general? Yeah, I think a lot of it is, and it's been a work in progress for sure. But l- giving a person their purpose for what they're doing, right? Making sure that that's clearly defined, what their duties are, what their KPIs are. Really making that clear and letting them get on with it, and not, I think what I've seen before is that there's a lot of micromanaging. Like a business owner will know that, or they'll know, or they'll think that they can do the job better, and so a lot of times they're like, I'll just handle it, right? Rather than having the employee do it, I'll just handle it because
Mhm.
I can do it faster and better. And
Yeah.
so they never really delegate the work, and they never really let the person take responsibility for the position. Um, and to go back to KPIs, it's like, all right, what is this person producing? What is it that they're outputting that contributes to the growth of the business? And you know, keeping track of it, we keep track of it on a daily and weekly basis. As management, we're looking at it more longer term. We're looking at trends and stuff, but every single employee is meeting daily to look at numbers, where they're at for the day, and then
Mhm.
we're really pushing for weekly numbers, um, and graphing it and making sure that those stats are going up. And if someone's
Mhm.
stats are going up, then they're contributing to the expansion of the business. If they're going down, they're not. They're doing the opposite. And so, really, that helps to keep accountability and yeah, and ensure expansion. If hey, look, if the numbers are going up, they're going up, and you're expanding. That's really what it
Mhm.
boils down to.
Love it. So one thing that I've run into with the companies I've consulted with, most times when I do my initial onboarding with them, they don't have good tracking of their data. Their data is all over their place. Their data is incorrect. And a common hurdle I hear people say, and I want to hear your answer to it because I obviously always help them overcome this, but a common hurdle they say is, oh, well, people just won't update their numbers, or, it's not really at the top of my priority list to make sure that people are updating their numbers, or, they're doing fine and whatever. Like they go a bit more subjective. So I'm curious, again, why did you choose to go so intentional with tracking the numbers at that level? How did you make it happen? If there's any special sauce there.
I mean, look, if you're a business owner and you're not insisting on tracking your numbers and ensuring that they're accurate and insisting that your employees do the same, you shouldn't even be a business owner. Like, what do you do? What are you doing? Are you out of your? I mean, it's like you're completely flying blind.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be like a pilot flying without a radar or a map or something like that. It's like you don't know what's working, what's not working. So if you're serious about growing a business, like it's a non-negotiable because it's just it. Now we started out monitoring just a few statistics, revenue, leads that were coming in, stuff like that, very, very basic. But as time goes on, it's like, okay, what contributes to the revenue? Okay,
Mm-hmm.
what things are adding to that? Okay, so then now they have sub statistics.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't even know how many statistics we track now. I couldn't even tell you offhand, but it's a ton. Uh,
Yeah.
and yeah, man, I think as a business owner, it's just like if you insist on something, right?
Mm-hmm.
It'll get done, right? But you have to be
Mm-hmm.
intentional about it. It's like, all right, you want your employees showing up at 9 a.m. every day. That's going to happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's going to happen. They're going to show up. Okay, maybe they're late a couple of days, whatever. But generally speaking, they're going to be on time and they're going to leave on time and all that. And it's the same thing with stats. It's like, hey,
Mm-hmm.
you have to track X, Y, and Z. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
non-negotiable. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so it's a mindset from a business owner, and employees like it. They really do because they're most employees want to do a good job. Most employees want to help the business grow. And when you give them a production statistic and it monitors their output and what they're actually producing, it makes them feel good when their stats are up. Like every
Mm-hmm.
Monday we have a meeting and everyone shows their graph. We go around the room and every single person has a graph and they hold it up, and the people who have up statistics, they're like super happy to show it.
Can imagine.
Yeah, so it definitely helps out morale too. Yeah, yeah.
Totally. You were talking about non-negotiables. This is another area that, I've had to help build a stronger backbone with the leaders that I've worked with in the past. How do you balance the line of like being understanding when there's a slip up versus like hardcore accountability? Like, is there any leeway? Is there any leniency you operate off of?
Um, I'm not sure if I totally understand. Like, what would be an example?
So, like, let's say, for example, someone showing up to work late,
Yep.
right? Someone not hitting their requirement of production. Maybe you have some sort of a quota or something like that. What's your mindset on like, because you'll see like these examples of others where it's like complete hardcore, you mess up once you're out, that sort of like a mentality. What sort of culture, I guess, perhaps is a better question. What sort of culture works for you?
Yeah. Um, we have core values. We have nine or 10 of them. I forget. One of them's that our employees are results driven.
Mm.
Shout out to the book Delivering Happiness, the Zappos CEO. It's amazing. So if you haven't read that, get on it. It's absolutely phenomenal. But I'd say we're more on the lenient side. Like if we have an employee who is willing and they want to do a good job, we're going to work with them to get their production up for sure. Now, if an employee's production is just like consistently down, and we've taken measures to help them out to get their stats up, and it first requires really an analysis of the scene, like what is going on. Is this person just slacking off? Are they
Hmm.
scrolling TikTok, at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, or are they busy all day and there's just only so much production that they can do and they need help? So really, or maybe there's inefficiencies. It could be a whole slew of things, but so the first thing is really to like investigate,
Mm.
um, interview the person, find out what their take is on it. You know, because they have boots on the ground. They're the ones doing the work. It's easy
Hmm.
for management to just look at the numbers and be like, oh, get rid of this guy. But
Hmm.
really, finding out what the scene is. And yeah, we're definitely not of the mindset of, hey, your stats are down for a couple weeks and you're out of here.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, for
So
sure.
patience, evaluation of data, really taking a look at the whole scene, not making
Yeah,
a
and
knee jerk reaction.
right, right. And not, and knowing the person too. You could have someone who you hire who you think is a total culture fit, and they fit all your core values, and you think
Hmm.
that they're going to be awesome, and then they suck, and you do need to get rid of them, right?
Hmm.
uh, and they could be the happiest guy, they could be the life of the party at the office and all of that, but no matter what you do, their stats don't go up, so they're not contributing to your growth. They're doing the opposite. So you gotta, yeah. I mean, we're not running a charity here, so
Hmm.
those people will need to go for sure.
Makes complete sense.
Yeah,
So you mentioned reading, delivering happiness, and you also mentioned earlier you have an executive background. Would you say that you were primed and ready for leadership when you started this journey with your wife, when you made that transition, or has it been a learning lesson for you still?
still a learning lesson. 100%. Yeah, I would not say I have it down. I'd say I'm probably 15% down. I still got a good 85% to go. Yeah. Um, yeah, man, it's a work in progress. And, as we've grown, the problems that we had when we had two or three employees were magnificent problems. They felt very large at the time, and now the problems that we have feel very large. But we look back at those problems, and
Hmm.
it was like a gnat biting you. But at the time, it felt like a lot. But as from an executive or management position, was I ready to jump into this? I wasn't even close to ready.
Mm.
No, no. But I don't think you're ever ready. Like, are you really totally ready? I don't know. Going to
Hmm.
college and getting a business degree or whatever, and is that going to make you ready? No. There's a lot of learning, a lot of on the job learning as a business owner for sure. Yeah,
I mean, I'm with you on the whole. There never is like the readiness is the commitment to
right.
taking it on. It's just really the decision. You have to be able to make the decision, and you taking full responsibility for the outcome is quote unquote being ready because you're going to grow in the process. That is absolutely clear to me that you can't predict everything that's going to happen. You can't be prepared for anything. The only preparedness you can have is the willingness to experience what it is that could come with this commitment.
Yeah, yeah. And I've spoken to a decent amount of business owners or people who actually wanted to start businesses, and they're like, I need to do X, Y, and Z. I need to do this and that before I'm not ready yet. And yeah, it's just they're going to be 80 years old and just say they're not ready yet.
Yeah.
There's never the perfect time, really. So yeah, like you said, making that decision and just being all in on it and deciding that this is going to grow, and I'm going to do whatever it takes to do it. Um, yeah, that's crucial.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, it's great for you to be in a place where even in year one, you guys grew. And of course, with your commitment, your wife's commitment, you've continued to grow over these 5 years. And it's something that I think is just a wonderful example because there are others in this world that will settle for 10% growth or just settle for hanging in the same zone of revenue. They'll make sense of it, right? I don't feel like that has to be the case. And so I love to champion people like yourself where you've gone for way higher goals and have achieved greater growth. I'm curious from you, like what would you say has been the key differentiator between you staying stuck at a revenue level and you actually being able to scale over these last few years?
Yeah, it's sales and marketing. Um, no doubt about it. 100% sales and marketing. You absolutely have to deliver an excellent product or service, and
Mhm.
we do. But first and foremost, our marketing and sales line is where we have the attention.
Mm.
Uh, really, if you can't get people to reach out to you and people don't know about you, you don't have a business. And if you get leads coming in, right? Let's say your marketing is done well and you're getting leads coming in, but you can't sell them for a damn, then you're not going to have a business, right? You're not going to have the service to deliver. It's like, a pizza place could have the best pizza in the whole world, and if people don't know about the shop, they can't deliver it. Um, and so we've taken that. We knew that from day one, and the thing that we did that was most successful as far as marketing goes, and which marketing has really driven everything, is we allocate a percentage of our revenue to marketing. And when we first started, we were allocating 25%. We're now at 18%, but eventually we'll get it down to 15%, but we'll never go below 15%. 15% will be the lowest. And what this does is the more if you spend X amount of dollars, right, and your marketing's done correctly, if you spend X amount of dollars, you should get X amount of leads or new customers. Um, so if you spend 2X that on marketing, you should get 2X the leads or the customers. It's really a numbers game. And so when you start out spending X amount and it brings in so and so, and you have a high, a good return on that investment, well, now because you're allocating a percentage to the marketing, you now have more money to spend and invest on the marketing, which then brings in more leads. And the more
Right.
leads that you get, the more that you make. And now you're making more. And so now that dollar amount is even more to invest. And it just kind of snowballs.
Mm.
But what I've seen, particularly amongst attorneys that I've consulted with, is they'll say, "Oh, I'm going to spend 5,000 a month on marketing," right? And that's their fixed number. And if they make 20,000, you know, that month in revenue, the following month they're going to spend 5,000. If they make 200,000 the following month, they're going to keep spending
I see
5,000.
your point.
And so they're just staying at this fixed level, and the leads might go up a little bit or they go down a little bit when you're
Mhm.
just staying at a fixed amount, but you're not going to get more leads coming in, and so you're just not going to expand. So your marketing efforts has to grow in order for the business to really take off and expand, for sure.
Yeah. I love that dynamic of it being, it's almost, I mean, it is contingent on your own performance. So if there is a dip on the sales side downstream with that, it's going to course correct your spend. So that way you can go out there and sort out whatever the bugs are on sales, and sales will feel it because they'll be like, whoa, we have less leads. What's happening? So they even almost get a built in accountability there too. So I love that
Yeah.
approach.
Yeah, our salespeople were like, Hey, I want more leads. Okay, well, make more money. Make more money, we'll get you more leads.
Yeah, absolutely. Have you have you achieved what you thought you would achieve in the 5 years of running this business?
Um, I don't know. I didn't. This is a bad mark on myself, but we didn't really have we didn't really have a plan. We wanted to grow, but we never really delineated milestones or specific goals on what
Mm,
we want to achieve. We didn't do that until recently and over the last year or so. And so now our 7 to 10 year plan is it's it's written. It's well known amongst all of our employees on where we're going and our intention. And so now we're much more intentional. So did I get to where we wanted to go? Probably. Probably. Yeah, I think
how
so.
important do you think that is the employees knowing the plans for the company?
I think it's absolutely crucial to have a full, a team that is aware of the goals and the aims and the purposes of the business, so that everyone is working towards that. It forms more of a team. A
Mhm.
business is a team, and it's composed of individuals, but it forms a team. And it's like, imagine if a bunch of soldiers went to war and they didn't know like what the purpose of this battle, like what they were, right? It would be total chaos,
Absolutely.
you know? Yeah, it's absolutely crucial. We filmed the whole video on it not long ago and
That's cool.
showed it to all the employees, and now every new employee watches it. And yeah,
That's great. Now, for you, from where you sit, I'm curious because you've gone from two people to now you're sending out offer letter for your 25th or 26th staff. What was your life like in the early days in terms of, like, let's say your schedule and let's say your work, but also your life management as well? And I'm curious, what does it look like today?
sure. Um, well, I'm a workaholic. Uh, it's funny. I took our daughter to a volleyball lesson the other day, and the coach was like, "Hey, Fiona, what do you do in your free time?" And Fiona's like, "I play volleyball." And he's like, "Well, what else do you do?" And she's like, "I play volleyball." And and then he asked me, he's like, "What do you and Ashley like to do?" And I was like, "We like to work. We like to grow our business." So I don't know if I'm the best person to ask on this, but at the very beginning, it's kind of funny. At the very beginning, it was all work, right? It was, you wake up in the morning, and we were working out of the house. COVID was going on, right? There wasn't shit to do any other
Hmm.
time of the day. It was like, okay, we go for a bike ride for an hour, and that was, it was it was COVID.
Yeah.
Um, Before that, before we moved to Florida, I was in California, and I was in like my third year being a realtor. Um, and I was doing really well, but if I worked 15 hours in a week, that was probably a lot.
Wow.
And I know it was wild. I was making good money. Um, and it was really crazy. If I worked 15 hours a week, that was a lot. But I wasn't really happy.
Hmm.
I was like going and surfing and just doing like random shit that wasn't really productive, sitting around watching TV. And um but yeah, when we started, it was balls to the wall. And now, with the team that we've grown, like, we can take time off, not a problem, right? Our daughter is traveling all over the country for volleyball, so that's a lot of our vacations now. But you know, but it's not a problem to take off. I can leave at 6 o'clock. I can work 9 to 5 or 9 to 6. I usually stay late. I usually stay until 8,
Even
9
today.
o'clock. Yeah, yeah. Our daughter, she's at volleyball most nights, so getting home isn't like necessary. Uh, and yeah, man, I think when you love what you do, it's not tough to keep working. If I'm in the quarry breaking down stone, right, with a hammer, I might think differently.
Sure.
But yeah, and I think if you're going to be successful, you're going to have to put in a lot of work.
Hmm.
You're going to have to put in a lot. I know a lot of people who are like, I want to get the business to be where a point where I don't have to work anymore and I can have other people do it for me and I can go sit on the beach in, Barbados or whatever. And
Yeah.
it's just, yeah, I mean, maybe some people can do it. I don't know, but
Hmm.
I don't find that to be true.
Sure. Oh, you mentioned earlier you didn't know if you felt like the right person to ask, but like complete different dynamic to one of our earlier guests where, he has three daughters, youngish guy, found meaning in not only being a business owner, but in other areas of his life. But it gives him purpose, right? And so
Yeah.
when I hear your story, it's like there's no one way of being a business owner. There's not just one core purpose. It's not like you go all in and everything else suffers completely and that's just it. It is so personal to what gives one purpose because at the end of the day, like you go into business to help people or to do something that's contributing to another in exchange for money, and that money is just energy to further whatever one's goals or ideals are. And I've heard extremely successful people that sold their business for millions, if not hundreds of millions. They try and take time off and they get that itch for building because that's what gives them purpose. That's what gives them meaning is building things.
Yeah. Yeah. Kind of on the topic of purpose, you have we're delivering a very, very valuable legal services to people. And we're really helping out people in certain situations. Um, and that's a purpose, right? We're really like help changing people's lives. But I also challenge the listeners to look beyond like just the business purpose. Like, what is your purpose in life? Like, why, for us, we want to make a lot of money to, to be able to support our daughter, right? Be able to provide an amazing life for her. We want to create generational wealth for, our future generations. We want to be able to donate money to our church and support humanitarian causes. And you know we're we never feel like we're doing enough, especially in those areas. And so it's like, okay, well, how can we do more? Well, our time is a little bit limited, but we can definitely generate more money to be able to help. So I think like looking at, okay, why do you have the business?
Mm.
Okay, what is the reason for it? What are you in this for? And just keeping that at the forefront of your mind, because if you lose it, or you don't really have that purpose behind owning the business and growing it, then it's easy to be lax about it.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. The purpose, the why, the benefits on the other side that one's connected to have to be far greater than the fear, the uncomfortableness, the long nights, the difficulty, the fallbacks, because there's an unlimited amount of that in a business. It
Oh yeah.
There are a lot of hits that you take, and you were mentioning back in the early days they felt like massive problems. Now when you look at them, they look like gnat bites. But you're building toughness in this direction by continuing to persist and confront it. And you need to have some underlying reason for it all. It can't just be to make money, because money for money's sake is worthless,
Right.
honestly.
Yeah. Yeah. What are you doing with the money? It's like,
Exactly.
yeah, what the, you stocking it away in some freaking savings account? Like, what the, put it
Totally.
under your mattress, it's like, what are you doing with it?
Right.
Yeah.
For you with this business, would you say there's been any sacrifices that you've had to make?
Hmm. Sacrifices? I don't know. It's tough looking back on whether there's sacrifices. Maybe just the comfortableness of having someone paying your paycheck. Maybe that's
Mm-hmm.
maybe that's a sacrifice. Uh, I don't know. I wouldn't say so. You
I'd
know?
imagine for someone like yourself, it didn't feel like a sacrifice, even
No,
if it
no.
was a tough decision, or like it had to be done, I'd imagine.
Right, right. It's like, okay, working, you know, 6, 7 days a week from 9 a.m. until 9 p.m. I think a lot of people would look at that as a sacrifice.
Totally.
I don't. I didn't. It's how has my life been because of that, right? Okay, I could see if my daughter was sitting home every evening just like watching TV, and here I am at the office and I'm missing sporting events and important things for her or whatever. I could see how that would be a problem, but that's never been the case.
Mm.
She's, like I said, she's busy at night. Almost every, we keep ourselves busy, and we take trips, and I've never missed a gymnastics meet or a volleyball game ever. Yeah. So,
So, this idea of work-life balance, what's your thought on it?
uh, I mean, I feel like I have a good work-life balance. Like, what am I doing? Right. Typical day for me: get up 6:45, get to the gym 7 o'clock, at the gym until 8, come home, get dressed, put the golden retrievers in the car, drive to the office by 9, and then yeah, I'm at the office until anywhere between 7:30 and 9, and then on weekends we go out to dinner, do the normal weekend thing. I'm generally not working 7 days a week now.
Sure.
I put a little bit of time in each Saturday and Sunday, and I think there's too much attention put on work life balance. It's just like, just fucking create what you want life to be, and that's it. Uh, yeah, work life balance.
I don't think you have to choose one or the other. And it's really like
No,
you're the master of your own universe. Whatever
exactly.
you want to create on, if it's not harming anyone or causing mass destruction or anything like that, what can anyone say about what you want to do with your time? As long as you're
Right.
keeping your commitments, your obligations, you mentioned your core values. I think knowing what your core values are and being able to, at the end of the day, just say that you are actually sticking to them is really what matters.
Yeah. Yeah. You 100% create your life, good or bad. You're the one creating it, and yeah, man, everything I have going on in my life is because I decided that it was going to be that way. And so when we talk about like work life balance or whatever, yeah, I have work life balance for sure. I guess you could say that. Uh,
But you're also not shortcutting.
no,
You're not being lax. You're living
right.
it to the most in
Yeah,
each area.
I'm not lax at anything I do. Um,
Yeah.
There's definitely like 100% in whatever it is. Yeah, for
Totally.
sure.
Well, I think that's just refreshing for people to hear because I've worked with business owners, especially newer ones, where they struggle keeping everything going and afloat in their life. And a lot of times they have a difficulty saying no or prioritizing. But I've really seen it come down to just having anyone else that is connected to their decision to grow a business being on the same page as them and
Yeah.
seeing that purpose. Because if you have people pulling at you and like causing you negative thoughts about working when you're like actually trying to build a business, you have to be able to commit and like give dedicated effort to this thing. But you can do that while still also feeding into your family or just your personal health, whatever sort of groups you have going on. But they also have to be understanding what it is you're building. And if they don't understand, that's causing you trouble. But this thing is like more in the direction of survival, then you have a decision to make there.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I only surround myself with people who are a similar mindset as myself, who are growth oriented. That's one of our core values for the business is growth oriented. Um, yeah, if you're not growth oriented, you're not sticking around. But if you're causing negativity, if you're causing drama, there's just no. I have zero tolerance in my life for it. I just don't. So it's funny because I'll hear people talk about that,
Mm-hmm.
and oh, so and so's doing this, and so, and I look at, Ashley and I were joking about it actually a few months ago, where we just don't have any of that in our life, and it's because we just don't allow it. And you could have someone who you've been friends with for 20 years, but they're just a jackass and they're an asshole, and they, and they do nothing but bring you down, or try to bring you down, or try to bring others down, and you got to get rid of them.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna impede your progress, right? Where to a greater or lesser degree, they're gonna stunt your growth. Yeah. So surrounding yourself with the right people is necessary, not just for your business, but for your own mental sanity.
Absolutely. Amazing, man. Well, we're getting to the section where I love to just fling some rapid fire questions and get your flash answers to them if you're down.
My flash answers. All right.
That's right.
Let's
I,
see.
I want unfiltered Joe front and
Unfiltered.
center.
All right.
Here we go. What is the
I haven't
biggest
cur- I haven't
mis-
cursed that much. I haven't cursed that much, so you've gotten me a little reserved.
That's right. Well, we got to get the arched back forming here a little bit. What would you say is the biggest mistake entrepreneurs make that you know?
Uh, Underestimating the amount of marketing that is needed, the estimation of effort needed to grow their business.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I'd say that's the number one thing that I've run into is complete underestimation of what is required to actually, yeah, to grow it.
How does
And
one
start
gain the right estimation of effort?
I think, read what 10x by Grant Cardone. It's like, okay, if you think it's going to take 1 unit of energy to produce the effect, and multiply it by 10. That's really what it comes down to. Um, yeah, like our sales reps, they're required to make, between 200 and 225 outbound calls a week. And when I say that number to some people, they look at me with like absolute astonishment and sometimes horror. But that's what, that level of that, that level of effort is what's needed for this.
Yeah.
Um,
When you say outbound, that's not including your inbound traffic.
no, no, they have
That's
to
on
make
top of.
between, yeah, on top of, for sure.
Love it. Most underrated leadership skill.
Most underrated leadership skill. God damn. I don't know. I think being able to find out why an area isn't producing and
Mm.
having the balls to go in and dig in and find out and get to the very bottom and ask the questions until you have a clear picture of really what the situation is and not taking surface level answers from your employee.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and yeah, I think that's super. I don't think it's done by a lot of people.
I'd have to agree with you. So many people are willing to accept an answer because, God, if that was not the right answer, I'd have to actually look and stop what I'm doing and really confront this thing.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
much easier to just have a better week or have a better day, just will it into existence.
You have this like fire, this dumpster fire going on in the one office, and it's like, someone just said it's there's there's just heat coming from there. It's just nothing.
It's like that
It's like,
gif of the dog sipping the coffee and the restaurant's on fire or whatever. This is fine, is what he says as he's sipping his coffee.
yeah,
I'm really curious for you on this one. What would you say is the best investment you've made?
the best investment I made.
Hmm.
How about a best investment we received? All right,
Okay. Let's flip the question.
yeah, maybe best investment I made.
Hmm.
Um, One of our employees, I think the one that I told you commanded a higher salary than Ashley and I
Yeah.
were making together. That was probably the best investment that we made. Generated us millions in revenue by hiring her, and I was glad. It was a huge financial strain to take her on,
Hmm.
um, but I saw the potential, and I saw the future of what that could do or what her skills could do, and it did.
Hanger.
Yeah.
You mentioned stats earlier. Is there like do you have a dashboard of some kind or do you have a singular stat that you always look at?
I mean, revenue is what I'm looking at all the time.
Hmm.
I'm probably 5 times a day. I'm looking at what that is. Yeah, qualified leads. How many qualified leads are coming in? But revenue is the main thing that I'm looking at.
Hmm. Amazing, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you could give any advice to people that are either in that position where, it's a couple, one of them is working, doing the W-2 thing, the other one is going to take the risk, the thing that could be a flyer, right? That could really scale. What advice would you give that couple?
So you have so you're saying someone already had one of the spouses has another job. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. Yeah,
And then the other one wants to start up the business or
exactly. Yeah. Maybe they haven't seen the scale or growth they're looking for yet, but what would you say to that couple that's trying to go about it that way?
um they need to get on the same page as for where they want to take this and what they want to do with it. Like Ashley and I said earlier, we didn't have set markers that we wanted to hit, but we were uh, very aligned in that we wanted to grow it. And I've seen other attorneys who are like, no, I don't want to grow it. I just want to make this amount. I want to have my 2 employees, and that's all I want. That's fine, right? If that's what they want, that's fine. Um, but but Ashley and I were aligned in that we wanted to grow it. We didn't know how far we wanted to grow it, but we wanted to grow it. And so getting on the same page as to, okay, where do we want this to be? And I would urge people to like look at, I would urge them to do not what we did, in the sense that I would set 1 year goals, 3 year, 5 year, 10 year. I would do that from the very beginning, because it would have made us more aligned. Now we were very aligned. So like when I was working the sales job, I'd come home on lunch and I'd create Facebook posts. I'd come home in the evening and I'd be working on the website or blog posts or creating videos or whatever. So for that W-2 employee, it's like, okay, I would say any free time that you have. Like I didn't watch
Mm-hmm.
TV for several years. The only thing I watched was the Philadelphia Eagles when they played. Um, but besides that, yeah, any free time, you're just doing what you can to help grow the business. Take your skill set, where does it fit in, and do what you can. Yeah.
Where can people stay connected and on the up and up with you and the firm?
Where can they?
Yeah, it's the best way
Yeah, I
to
mean,
stay plugged in.
yeah, LinkedIn, social media, Facebook, Instagram. We started a marketing company for non-stuffy attorneys. That's the name of the marketing company. So we do marketing for attorneys. Um, I have a podcast, non-stuffy attorneys. Follow, check me out there. Shoot me a direct message, whatever. Yeah, I'm always willing to talk to somebody. So anyone ever wants to talk, yeah, shoot me a message and I'll set up a time. For sure.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, Joe, thank you again for lending your time to this and helping inspire listeners with actionable advice that they can take. You know, being connected with you, getting to know your staff, I can really see what a great job you've done in making the purpose and vision known, but not something that's forced upon them, but to one where it's like put in their space and they have that chance to either gravitate towards it or be like, I want nothing to do with that. And you can really tell the number of people you have on your team that are really there willingly and interestingly for that mission. So congrats on what you've built, and I'm excited to see how far it goes.
Well, thank you very much. And, you've been working with us for the past few months. It's been an absolute pleasure. And the whole team loves you. And you've done some very, very helpful things for us. So thank you.
Love it. Until next time.
Until next time.